or something happens and
Post.
I'm
Now,
SOL and
the perks though, if it is the airport's fault, so like if you book it all the way through and it's not like you booked one-way tickets each way, if they miss the first flight and it messes up the next consecutive ones, it's always the airport's fault, so they always have to fix it.
yeah,
So it's like
yeah,
if you do a 1 hour layover and they screw it up, it's on them, not you. But
yeah.
if you book one ways, you're toast.
Yeah,
That's fun.
I just gotta look like I might just fly out on the 23rd and because I get off work on the 22nd and I come off of night shift and that one flight that I said I was that one flight I have to be in at the Calgary airport at like my flight leaves at like 2 p.m. and I get back here at like 8:30 a.m. off of night shift. So it was kind of like maybe it's for the best that I fly out on Friday. So, but
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see.
Hey, happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday.
Let's go. How are you?
Amazing, amazing. How's everybody on this call? If you want to drop in the chat where you guys are tuning in from, that would be
On the
awesome.
road.
I'm
On the road.
currently I'm in Munich, Germany. So that's where I'm from today.
Nice.
We're in Germany
Here.
and no, Eugene's out in Canada. Timmy's in Florida.
Yes, on the road to an event.
On the road. You're going to Miami,
Oh
right?
yeah, the Florida event.
Yes, there's one. Well, what we do is we collectively all have events all over,
Okay.
different states, different countries, on a Saturday, and just bring massive value. And I'm speaking in Orlando. So that's why it took me so long to get on this call because the signal out here is basura, y'all.
Mhm.
But we're here.
We still make it. This is exactly what Phemy and I were talking about right before this today was the fact that you can still do exactly what you said you would do when you said you would do it, even if you're in a different time zone, going to an event, working on something, like life gets
Our
chaotic,
life circumstances.
life
Bye.
circumstances, but choosing to be the
Yeah.
person that always shows up when you said you would. And obviously there are reasons for not, but there are reasons where just because it's difficult doesn't mean you can't. And that's when it matters. Um,
Yeah.
and so it's
I agree. And also too, just a choice.
just a choice, yeah. So
Just a choice. Just a choice. But awesome. Is it cold over there? You look bundled, sis.
it is a little cold. It's like 50s, 40s, and it's a rainy today. It's kind of a little bummer, but it's all good. It'll be
Okay.
sunny tomorrow.
Coolio. Nice. Amazing. Let's jump right into it, you guys. Because
Let's
I know.
jump right into it. I know we might have some Wi-Fi challenges maybe potentially. So if anything happens, guys, just we'll definitely do our best to hop back on. And if anything changes, we'll message in the broadcast channels. But yeah,
Yes.
what are you thinking? Events change lives or talking about your why?
I think we should talk about both. I
I
actually
think they
just
both go. Yeah.
yeah, I agree because I actually was listening to something and then they referred a book starting with your why. Um
Hmm.
and it was actually really good because and I looked it up and the author Simon Sinek, which is very well known in the business entrepreneur world. Um and one of the things in the podcast I was listening to was the fact that if your why is actually strong enough, like you never stop going. And I think it kind of ties into what we're talking about. We both could have been like, oh well, we're booked and busy, we have events and we're traveling, I'm on the road, you're in another country, like, oh, we'll just reschedule, right? But the simple fact of understanding our why on such a deeper level and understanding that it goes beyond us, things like this are a no-brainer. You start having habits and choices and things that you start doing that is just automatic because it's tied to your why. We understand that our why is tied to other people, and to help other people, you have to constantly be growing. You have to constantly be expanding your mind. How do you do that? Going to events, serving other people, traveling, which are the reasons why we're doing what we're doing, because all of this ties to our why, right? We don't know who we're going to impact while we're both on our trip, but we have the intentionality of this is a part of our why, and this is another chance to do so. So let's show up and let's do it in excellence. And I think that a lot of times people lose sight of their whys. And it ties into circumstances, really, and I've seen both sides of the party. I've seen in the same environments, doing the same thing, having the same focus and vision. One person has a plethora of things happening to them, and and they're choosing to use that as a to not show up, to not do things. And and when we say that, it's not to belittle or make you feel bad, but that's just a fact. Because of your circumstance, you just chose not to be there because your mental capacity or your emotional capacity or your health, whatever it is, didn't allow you to do that, right? But you let that be the choice. You let that circumstance make choices for you instead of you tapping into your why and doing one more push and doing the thing, right?
So
And
good.
and then I've seen on the same environment, same thing. This person B, going through probably a little bit worse than situation A, person A, but nobody knows. And they're on every call and they're at every event and they're serving and they're pulling up and they're calling, they're helping out. And and I think that there is a misconception of, oh well, because people's minds automatically want to go to comparison. And remember, comparison, it is a spirit of lack. So when you go into comparison about, well, this person is going through this and they don't have my journey, that it's not that's not what it should be when it
Mm,
comes to your circumstances, your life, and your choices and your why. That just means that you still have to grow in that area. And I was listening to this thing on the way we were listening to a sermon, and he said something that clicked. I get it. I understand. You just don't get it. You don't understand the capacity and the heaviness of the why we have to keep going, why we have to show up. That's okay because that's just a sin that A lot of people want to take that in a negative way or go to comparison instead of just looking at, well, how's this person showing up and go so much? What's the lesson? What's the thing? Because success leaves clues,
mm.
So I definitely think it's really important to keep looking at your why, keep cultivating your why, keep tapping into your why. Even in the smallest things where you think it doesn't really matter, your why makes you move, y'all. It makes you move.
So good. One of the things you mentioned about was like the capacity that we have as individuals. And I heard this recently where it's the people that I am inspired by are the ones who can handle chaos and be emotionally regulated at the same time. And you don't even know that they're going through something. And I think as we grow and as everybody levels up, they they don't get technically better at handle they have this capacity now to withstand more stress level and still keep their frequency and their vibration at the same level or higher instead of going back down um, as somebody else who didn't have the capacity. But we only get to stretch our capacity when we're put under pressure, when we're put in the situations to grow that capacity. Um, and that was, I've learned that through trading, but I've learned that through going to events. I've learned that through seeing individuals navigate life while they're in such an expansive mode at an event. or they're performing. If you think about it, public speakers are performers. They're about to go through a performance, but there's also life happening. And so they're trying to inspire people. They're also handling life. And the ability to do both, those people impress me so much, and you have to grow into that. And I think as each one of us grow into our version of the selves that we want to have, and whether you want to be a public speaker or not, that's not what I'm saying. It's the ability to handle yourself in situations that you don't necessarily know how you like. There's so many unknowns on one side of the factor, but people are asking you to lead. You're the leader. You're the one that they're looking to. And I think there's something really deep there that we can observe, we can learn, but we only get it by going through it. So if you want to expand and to actually grow your capacity, you have to put yourself in a position to even be able to have the problems. Because we can't handle the new problems if we never get to solve the first set of problems.
Yeah, that's so good. And I love that because when you said that, I remember this one thing you told me that like always helped me look at my why. And you always asked and you said, is what's happening, is it in my control or is it outside of my control? And I always correlate that to my why, because am I going to utilize the fact that it's not in my control as a reason to not pursue my why? Or am I going to, like you said, go under this pressure and learn and grow and do what I need to do? And these are the times that we really do need to lean in. And I love that you said that. Like, that's exactly what we need. Like, the pressure is what gives you everything that you need on the other end. On the other end is the lesson. On the other end is that 1% better version of you, because you decided to still go through the pressure. You decided to go through the chaos and learn how to manage the chaos, even though you didn't know how, you had no idea how you were going to, but you went in with a willingness, and your higher faculty. And these are how you sharpen your higher faculties, guys, going through these things. And it's funny because I was having a conversation the other day and someone had asked me, why is the higher faculties important? And I was like, well, why are your five senses important? Because you need them to do things. You need them to be aware, so you can, regulate, so you can pivot, so you can change. And then it's the same thing for like the spiritual side of success, the things that you do. And I correlated the higher faculties to your why, because if you have a why that is so strong, and every time it happens to be something about your why, it activates your memory, it activates your imagination, it sharpens your will, it makes your perception better. You're growing. You're growing. Growth is not automatic, you guys. Growth is a choice. And I feel like your why constantly, either if you let it, pull you towards that choice of changing and, like you said, learning how to manage chaos and regulate your emotions, because it's so real. It's so real.
So good. When it comes to our whys, and I'm gonna challenge you guys because I know you guys are capable of it, and I know that you guys actually want to do something. You wouldn't show up on a separation Saturday call if you didn't. These are totally optional, and it's only for you to grow. And so I know we're talking to the right people at the right time, at the right place, because otherwise you wouldn't be here. And, and one of the things that I actually got challenged again this week was back in 2020. My mentor told me I was a long short story was do this homework, and once you're done with it, come back to me. And there was no communication in between. It was like, do this thing, tell me when you're done. And there was no other conversation. It was just do it. She challenged me to write down 300 goals. 300 goals. After 10, you're already like, okay, what else can I do? But this exercise allowed me, and it took a while, allowed me to get into my creative state. It allowed me to get into imagination and get past the this would be nice or this would be amazing stage. And it allowed me to dream. And I think as every adult that's on this call, because we're all adults, the world tells us to stop dreaming. Somebody somewhere told you to stop dreaming, be realistic, don't have these high, like you're not capable of doing that. Nobody in your family's done that before. We've all heard these things. And the person who allows you and gives you permission to dream again is a very special individual in your journey. And so what I really challenge you guys is to dream again, to really sit down and write out 300 goals, 300 things you want. I don't care if it's the most out there thing. Whatever you can hold in your mind, you can hold in your hands.
Amen.
And if I didn't do that, and mind you, I got challenged again to go back and revisit those 300 goals this week and actually check off ones that I have accomplished since then, but also write a whole nother list of 300 goals. And so I'm in the process of doing that right now.
Nice.
And really crafting out the things that you want and then attaching them to your why. Because once you write out what you want, the why will come. I know that your why should make you cry is all these things we've heard. It's kind of cliche, but it matters because it gets you in the feeling. And if you have to be emotionally involved with your goals.
The feeling is the secret.
The feeling is the secret. And if we cannot get emotional with these goals, there's no pull towards it. You're just writing words on a piece of paper and you're doing yourself an injustice. And so my challenge for you guys is get a Google Doc spreadsheet or whatever, Excel, and start writing out your 300 goals. You're going to get stuck at past 10. You're going to get stuck at 100. You might have to come back to it another day to get the other 200. You might be like, this is the most wildest thing. Guys, I've been to 11 countries since I started doing that. I had been to one before that. Like,
Period.
Experiences and dreaming, like dreaming again, being around the right information, going to events, getting around people who have the information. I don't know all of this stuff. Phemy doesn't know everything at this next event she's going to, but the people in the room have experience, and experience-based information is always an emotional impact. This is why school fails us, because it's not emotionally attached. There's no emotional charge. It's just information in a textbook. And reading about Germany and going to Germany are two different things.
Facts.
Reading about Croatia and experiencing Croatia, two different things. And so you engage the five senses, you get emotionally involved with that idea, and it becomes an actual thing. And so these are little steps that you guys can take to form your why. And one of the really cool things that I've experienced is, and I heard this from Forbes 30 under 30. I heard it from a guy who's at Forbes 30 under 30. And I watched him, I think Phemy and I were actually at this event in Orlando, and we watched him run an entire event that he put on together, Break the Code event. And he said this one thing, and somebody asked him, was like, aren't you tired? And he's like, you don't get energy, you release energy. And just, you watched him, you observed him the whole weekend release energy. And by releasing energy, he got more of it. I don't think the dude slept. If not, maybe a few hours, but like one of the most energetic, connected to his why, which is to impact people. And I think at some level, every human, you guys are all incredible humans. At some level, we all want to help each other.
Mhm.
And there's this beautiful collaboration that happens when individuals are like, okay, it's bigger than me. My why is bigger than me. I can figure out a way to take care of myself. And now I want to help others. And you can do this in the process of not even having yourself figured out yet. You don't have to wait till you're figured out. This is a
You
process.
can't. You
You
can't wait till you figure out. You'll miss it. You'll miss it.
you'll miss everything because the growth is in the journey. And you have to start the journey.
Mhm. That's so good. That's so good. And it's funny because we're always in alignment. Because I was going to, you touched on it. You're like, if you're just writing on your paper, you're just writing the why, just writing the goal, and there's no feeling, like it doesn't matter, And I want to touch on when your why isn't really valid, when your why comes from a selfish place, when your why comes from a survival mode, right? I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been there where, especially last week when you asked, you're like, is does your goal or what you write down, does it make you feel jazzed? Like, does it inspire you? Like, does it make you like, oh my God, like, as you're writing it down, like you're getting excited. And if you no longer have that feeling to the why that you have, that you thought you have, you need a new why. And you need to understand that there is no stability, like there is no just one why. Like, it's just one why. Your why is changing because you're changing. I just told you guys, growth is not automatic, it's optional. So you have full capability of changing your why, because the person you used to be is no longer here. The person you were yesterday is gone. Today you are a 1% better, in addition to who you were. Not to say the core of you is constantly changing, your ethics, your morals, your values, but just you as in your person, your mentality, your emotions, and you're constantly growing, you're constantly learning about yourself. And these are two things that I was asked. I think I texted you one of them. And I want you to ask yourself this. And when I read it, I'm like, wow, because this is going to help you see a little deeper with your why. Ask yourself, where am I avoiding responsibility in life that's keeping me from my next level? Because oftentimes we minimize our whys, you guys. We think because, okay, well, we have this one thought that's huge, it's really big, but to your circumstances and where you're at and the things that you've gone through, maybe you shouldn't have that type of why. Maybe you should just start with this why. Y'all need to scratch all of that out. That is part of your self-doubt, your limiting beliefs. God didn't give you limits, so why are you giving yourself limits? And the other question, this one gets me every time, and I have now put it on my laptop so I can see it. Am I producing at the level that is required for the vision I say that I want, for the life that I say that I want? Am I producing at the level that's required for the things I say that I want? And honestly, you guys just asking yourself that, I know for a fact, you're going to be looking at your why like, yeah, I need another why. Or I need to add on to that why. Or, you know what I mean? Or I need to scrap the why and I need to start over. Because eventually, you guys, what's going to happen as you grow, as you develop, as you expand, and go through things that stretch you and go through pressure, like Grace says, your why is no longer going to be for you, because you're going to have you're going to keep having breakthroughs and understanding at different levels that you didn't even know. And it's because, your mind is expanding, right? Once it expands, it never goes back. And you're going through that and you're like, wow, everybody needs to experience this. Now that I know this, and this, and this is the emotion that comes with it, this is the peace that comes with it, this is the freedom that comes with it, you're going to be on fire. And that is where you need to be, and that's where your why needs to be. And trust me, everything that we say on this call, we need it ourselves, because we're in the process, we're in the journey of doing so. Because if we don't stay there, you think we're going to hop on this call You think we're gonna? You think you would have been consistent for 2 years straight on Separation Saturday? You think that the things that we're doing, we would say yes to, even though we had no idea how, when, what, but we don't care about the how. We just do it because we're imagining our whys, you guys. We're attached to the feeling. We realize and see what it does. And when you go to events, what I'm talking about, you see it in person, in live person. Like you see it when someone is like on like they're sitting in front of the stage and then you just happen to look over and there's this face that happens when they realize their why, because someone who knew their why, wanted to inspire other people, constantly showed up to the point where they were on stages across the world to just ignite other people's whys, to change other people's whys, to cultivate other people's whys. I don't know, you know what I mean, who I'm going to meet, what I'm going to see, but my why is about to activate someone else's why when I walk on that stage and I speak today. But it literally goes that deep. That's why you need to be at events for you, for your goals. That's why when you're writing down what your why is, when you're taking this challenge seriously, the 300 goals that you're writing, ask yourself those questions. Because at the end of the day, just that alone, like, when I heard that, when one of my leaders asked me that, am I producing at the, I was like, oh no, I'm not. So I need to change all of this. All right, cool. Let's go back to the game plan. Let's go back to the whiteboard. You know what I mean? And it's okay to pivot, to hear these things. And if it's stinging you, it's for you. It's disinfecting you because no longer are that person. You no longer can carry that emotional weight. You no longer can carry that baggage because you're a brand new person. You're growing, you're learning, you want more. You have a spirit of dissatisfaction. Blissful dissatisfaction keeps you in the state of creativity. It keeps you wanting more. That's why the human heart is also too like it's deceitful sometimes. And you have to be careful about your emotions and who you're around and what you're doing. Because you may think you want that thing and it's not that. You may think you want this thing, it's not that. But if you have a why, it's going to anchor you in your purpose. And it's going to keep you pushing towards that without being deviated, without being, pushed to the left, to the right, because you know your why. You know your why. You know your why, and it's constantly growing and it's constantly engulfing you and making you want to help other people. Because eventually your why is not going to be about you. Not anymore.
It's so good. There's just so many things like I've gotten to encounter a few people so far, and our why also, like, let me try to word this in the best way possible. We have to be able to figure out a way to serve people without physically having to be there.
That's good. Say that.
Yeah, we have to be able to figure out a way to serve people without even physically being there. But your presence, whether it's online, whether it's through a business that you create, whether it's through another person, whether it's through the wisdom and the insight you give to another person that gives it to that person, like we have to be able to figure out a way to inspire, to like impact a person without having to physically be there, because the world is so big and it's so open and we can do whatever we want to do. Most people, and me included, like still have a physical job. And in 2025, we know that the world is digital. We need to figure out a way that we can impact the world without having to be in a physical location. In one physical location. You can be all over the world. It doesn't matter. And we were talking about AI today, and I was just like blown away by what, if we don't if we don't start now building whatever you want. I don't care what you want, guys. I do, but I don't. Like, build, your dream can be scalable to the levels that you want to scale it to. We just have to use the freaking tools that we have in our hands to be able to actually do that. And however you choose to do that, whether it's a business that's online, a business that has physical products, but you still don't have to be in an actual place, a business that is a service, that you don't have to be the one doing the service. Like we have to be able to figure out these things, and leverage is a huge part in the factor of being able to create a location neutral life if you want it. That's what I want. I know that's what Phemy wants. I know that's what Eugene wants. I'm not sure if that's what everybody else wants, but given the way that the world's going, we really do need to take this seriously. And the people who actually took it seriously in 2017, and then in 2020, when the world shifted, and then now in 2025, you can see the trajectory of their life changed because they got around people that actually knew how to inspire, to make an impact through tools and not having to be there in person. And so I just want to like put that in your guys' mind of like, this is a process. You don't start day one and have an online business. You can open it, you could open it, you could start it, but it doesn't grow day one. And so this is going to take time if that's something that you choose to do. And I hope to God it is. I don't care what it is that you do, but I hope to God you find a way to serve people through using the tools that are like free to use. Like it's free. And it might not be free later. Like we have a really small window of time.
Prices up, y'all. Prices are going
Prices are
up.
going up.
No, I completely agree. I completely agree, 100%. So important, so important, and it's funny because that's actually my topic. I'm talking about the digital revolution.
Yeah,
That is my segment for this event,
let's
and
go.
it's one of those things because it's like obviously no one can force your hand, you guys, but when you're like firsthand seeing like the rapid changes of the world and you're seeing what it looks like and what happens when you're just educated. Like think about the industrial age, the people that were ready for the industrial revolution when our world went from what it was to factories and assembly lines, and all the people that were in position for that are the people that led the next few years. And it just kept going and it just kept going and it kept innovating and it got bigger. And it's the same thing. Every time there's a shift in our economy, which happens every few decades, and there's a wealth transfer, because guess what? The people that are educated and managing everything the right way, they're the ones who's going to keep going. Like the people that were talking about AI in 2017 that were, having seminars and online things and just started, like you said, like they have the business all the way up, but they started doing, e-classes, started putting up, sites and things of that nature. Now they're probably some of the top leading people that are creating chat gpt, creating things like Gemini, creating robots that are in now stores replacing people. So many people are losing jobs, you guys, and it's like if you think that your hands is going to serve you in the next few years when it comes to making a living and providing, it's scary. It's scary. All right, everybody, stay in your lanes. Driving AI cars, bro, have you seen that in Texas? The taxi, the thing that
And
just drives.
in Arizona, there's self-driving cars.
Yeah. And someone told me that they saw one for the first time somewhere in Texas, and I'm like, the first where I saw it was in Arizona as well. I was like, what? But you guys, like it's real. Like it's all shifting. And another thing too, like talking about these things, like they do have to be correlated to your why, because you live in this world. The economy is going to affect you and how your why happens. And I love how you said it, like it doesn't matter what you do. Like we care about y'all, but it don't matter. Pick what it is that you want and do the thing. And do the thing in excellence, and do it in education, do it in the right community, and do it with the professionals. Because at the end of the day, everything is shifting with or without And there's going to be a point where people are going to have to be learning out of desperation. And I love what you said, that small window. Whatever it is that you create, whatever it is that you do, people are going to come to you. They're going to come to you. Hey, I know that you have a X, Y, and Z, this, and that, and this is where I am right now. Our economy's changing. Like, can you help me out? Can you show me? Can you teach me? Can you show me what you did? Can you lead me to where you learned? It's real, you guys. It's very real, and it's happening. It's happening everywhere, rapidly, you know. But this call was definitely fire. I'm almost to the event space. We're gonna have to check in, get settled in, and everything. But I'm grateful for you. Thank you for always showing up. Thank you for being one of my best friends. Thank you for being an amazing business partner and just impacting these. Like, I'm so excited to take these on the road. Like, you guys, Separation Saturday is gonna be innovative. It's not just staying here. It starts here, right? And we understand the long-term vision. That's why we're constantly showing up Saturday in and Saturday out, no matter what, because it's tied to our why.
So fun. So fun. It's like, it makes me so excited to see new faces, same faces every week. And I'm super grateful that I get to do this with you, Phemy. It's absolute joy. And like our why is translated through other people. And without people, it would just be me and Phemy on a phone call, on a FaceTime. And yeah, that's fun and we love it. But showing up, having a reason to show up, it brings this level of enjoyment in my life. And seeing you guys accomplish the things that you said you would do. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I want you guys to get like one of the most freeing things that one of my mentors ever said to me was, "You're allowed to fail in front of me."
Wow.
You're allowed to fail in front of me. You're allowed to screw it up. You're allowed to mess it up. You're allowed to take a pause and be like, I don't know what I'm doing and blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, I'm going to come back. I'm going to get this right. Like, you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to fail in front of me. And I think that that's what makes this space so fun, is it doesn't go away. You can't screw it up. Like, you could fail 16,000 times and get back up and keep going.
And we still gonna cheer you on. What you mean?
And I still get, like, if somebody comes to me and is like, let's say Phemy is gonna go absolutely crush her speech, but let's say it doesn't go well. That's a rep in a failure of a speech, and guess what? You get to come back next week and then be like, look, this is the things I learned, and I learned through experience, and this is what I do now. And then by the time she's speaking on stages in front of 15,000 people, you're like, oh yeah, there was that one time I messed up like my words. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, we don't get to experience those things if we don't put ourselves in them. And so
Yeah.
go out and fail. See how many times you can fail this week. I failed. Guys, I flew all the way across the country and I forgot to buy a ticket to the event, and it got sold out, and I had to figure out a way to get a ticket.
Crazy.
Bruh. Like,
It's
like,
real.
like,
It's
it's
real.
not always perfect. You know what is, though? Last thing. Your mind can only focus on one thing at a time. So as the moment I realized that I screwed up, I just totally missed that detail. I messaged as many people as I knew that I possibly could get the answer from. And I waited like 24 hours, and I messaged again, and I tried again, and I showed up at the place and was like, can I get a ticket? They're like, it's sold out. I'm like, who can I talk to? Like, 30 minutes later, I had a VIP ticket. And like the best ticket to be able to do all of the things that I needed to be able to do. Everything works in my favor. And it only works if your attitude's there. If I went there and I was like, oh my God, I'm so dumb, I'm so stupid, like all of this stuff, like how do you do that? How do you mess that up? It could have been a completely different scenario. And just know you're allowed to fail. And
You're
then
allowed to fail.
and then get it right. And then your attitude really does dictate in those moments what happens.
Mhm.
One of the best
100%.
things that I heard, one of the best things that I ever heard is exactly on that. And it's like that you can screw it. It's not that you mess things up in life that you screw up, it's what you do afterwards to make it right. And it was
Mhm.
like one of the most freeing things that I ever heard in my life is like, oh yeah, you can like, who cares? You
Yeah,
can always make it right afterwards. Like
that's
just
it.
And like
That is it.
there was a guy who spoke today who was in prison for 8 months and got out of prison and is now one of the leading entrepreneurs, and I can't remember which country it is, but he has an incredible thriving business, has retired his parents, and he's done everything he's wanted to do in his life. Like 7 years later, after having gone to prison for 8 months. Like
Yeesh.
you can rewrite your story. It doesn't matter what happened, it matters what's next. And so
Yes.
whatever it is, guys, focus on your why, but because that's what pulled him, that's what's pulled me. Was like, there's a will, there's a way. And these things always work in our favor if we keep our mind focused on life. This is the quote on my phone screen. Life is a game of energy. Energy is a game of focused attention and deliberate creation.
Mm.
We get to play this game. The game is actually energy. What energy are we in? And so, with that, I love you guys. I love each and every one of you. I know Femi's got to hop off. Go absolutely crush your speech. So proud of
Thank
you.
you.
And we will see you guys on next week's Separation Saturday call. Bring a
Be
friend.
great.
This will go up on YouTube. It might be a little bit 48 hours later instead of 24, but we'll do our best to get it up as soon as possible.
Facts. Be great.
Much love.